Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to a regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. Are there any additions to the agenda?
There are no additions.
Thank you very much. Council, would you mind reading in our closed session items?
Not at all, Chair. Members of the board, good morning. There are 3 items for your closed session today. The first is conference with your labor negotiators under Government Code Section 54957.6. Your agency designated representatives are Director Dixon, ACAO Begay, and Human Resources Manager Sabrina Mendez. The employee organization are all units, including unrepresented employees, all classifications, but not elected officials. There are 2 existing litigation matters under Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D1. They're both Madera Superior Court cases. One is Valley Groundwater Coalition versus the County of Madera, MCV 087677, and the other has a long list of plaintiffs, one being Cardoza versus the Madera County Groundwater Sustainability Agency, MCV 086218. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any members of the public who have questions regarding the closed session items? Seeing and hearing none, we will move into closed session. I'd like to welcome you to a regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. Today is December 10th, 2024. Council, are there any actions that are reportable at a closed session?
Chair, there's no reportable action from your closed session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will now open and close the meeting in memory of individuals that have left us. Are there any individuals that one of my colleagues would like to recognize at this time?
Yes,
Yes.
I'd like to open and close this meeting in the memory of Duff Bryant, who was chairman of the cemetery board in Chowchilla. Also a longtime VFW member, American Legion member, served in war, was an outstanding community member, just a great guy. He'll be missed a lot, and we just want to remember his family and thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Are there any other individuals? Okay, we will now move on to our invocation and pledge of allegiance, and we have the honor of Fred Thurman from New Life Assembly of Madera, who will be directing the invocation. Would everybody please stand?
Thank you all. Let's bow our heads in prayer this morning. Heavenly Father, we welcome you here this morning. Your word says that trust in the Lord with all our hearts and lean not to our understanding, acknowledge you in all our ways. The back wall, it says, in God we trust. So today, Lord, we just put our trust in you. Thank you for wisdom and insight and the running of our county. And we thank you, Father, for the blessing that you bring upon us and the blessing of this season that we're in. We give you the praise for all that you're doing in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record. Yes. Somebody
Hello,
ran
good
up.
morning.
Really
I did. I got first in line.
nice.
Tracy Kennedy, your treasurer tax collector. I'm not going to talk to you about taxes exactly right now or the stats of our big collection or the 190 people that walked in and paid their taxes yesterday. But as you all know by now, our county council deputy, Dale Bacigalupi, is going to retire at the end of the month. And I just wanted to say a few words about him, and I prepared my own little proclamation. I told him to sign on. This is the last time you're going to hear my voice. Anyway, we love Dale. And I got plenty of time. Whereas Dale Bacigalupi is retiring from his position as Deputy County Counsel, and whereas the Madera County Treasurer Tax Collector's Office will greatly miss his expert legal counsel, steady guidance, and his consistent availability to provide support on a wide range of matters. Whereas Dale has skillfully managed a wide array of complex issues from grant anticipation notes, excess proceeds, to advising on a number of financing matters, all while offering invaluable support to various departments and understanding and fulfilling their responsibilities. Dale has been much more than a trusted colleague. He has been a reliable advisor and true friend, always offering support and wisdom during both routine and challenging times. His contributions to Madera County Treasurer Tax Collector's Office have been invaluable, with email correspondence and documentation spanning back to at least 2017. And although I have lost a lot of my emails, which I always have trouble, his impact remains immeasurable. His retirement marks the end of an era, and while we will deeply miss his presence and expertise, we are grateful for the significant mark he has left on both Madera County and our department. Therefore, be it proclaimed that Madera County Treasurer Tax Collector, on behalf of my entire department, express our deepest appreciation to Dale Bacigalupi for his years of service, his dedication to Madera County, and his friendship. We wish him continued success and fulfillment as he transitions into retirement in Ventura County, and we look forward to keeping in touch for many years to come. Respectfully, Tracy Kennedy.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Dale.
Dale, I hope you're listening.
He can listen to the recording. Great. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Amy Toller with Animal Services. I just want to share some updates we have going on this month with Animal Services for the month of December. To start off, we have an adoption special for the entire month of December. All of our animals, our cats and dogs, are available for adoption for only $50. That includes their spay and neuter, rabies, preventative vaccines, deworming, flea and tick meds, and also your county license. To help get our animals home for the holidays, we are extending our adoption hours. We'll be open on Sundays as well. So from 10 to 2, you can come on Sundays and adopt some dogs and cats. We did start off this month with some fun stuff. We had a microchip clinic on December 3rd at the Oakhurst Tractor Supply. We also participated for the second year in a row on December 5th at our downtown Christmas light parade, where we had employees, friends, and family, volunteers. We also had Set the Tone Running Club, as well as several staff members from our public works came out and walked shelter dogs in our parade, getting these dogs out of the shelter for the night, walking in the parade, getting some exposure and some dogs adopted. Santa Paws is back, and he's brought along some friends. He brought his helper elf this year. He'll be here this Thursday in your lobby for all of our county employees, friends, and family. If they want to come down with their pets and have their photos taken, well, their pets' photos taken, from 5 to 7. He'll also be at the Adoption Center on Friday, December 13th from 5 to 7 for more pet photos and treats for your critters, as well as Wednesday, December 18th from 5 to 7 at the Adoption Center. Our Kids Reading to Critters program is still in action. We are extending our reading times during the winter break to give parents and some much needed time off. They can bring their kids down, they can let them read to our critters, possibly adopt for only $50. And if you want to know our extended times, please follow us on social media or give the shelter a call, and we can give you guys those times and dates. If you don't want to go to the shelter, well, come on down to the Madera County Library on December 17th at 10 o'clock, where the helper elf and I will be bringing some of our critters to read to the kids. On Saturday, December 21st, Set the Tone Running Club. We'll be back at the shelter to take our shelter dogs out for nice, needed walk, jog, and run. So if you want to feel like joining the running club, you could always come out and walk and run some dogs. And we're going to end the month at the Eastern Madera SPCA for another free microchip clinic from 10 to 1 o'clock. If you can't make it to our traveling microchip clinics, please come down to the shelter Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and we will microchip your animals for free. Thank you.
Very good. And it's very nice entry in the parade.
Thank you.
I like that. A lot
I
of people.
appreciate it.
Great.
Hi, good morning. Jacqueline Torres Herrera, your Assistant Treasurer Tax Collector. Just here to remind everyone, today is your final day to pay taxes without a delinquent penalty. So we are available in the office for cash payments until 5 p.m. today. You are able to make your online payments until 11:59 tonight. So remember, e-checks are free. And if you are coming down to the Government Center to make your payment in person, the first floor parking is available, and our drop boxes are available on the first floor of the Government Center lobby and at our Oakhurst Sheriff's Substation. That office does close at 5. So Oakhurst doesn't have to make the trip down here. They can go ahead and go to the Sheriff's Substation until 5 p.m. today to drop those payments off. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that have a public comment? Anybody online?
No comments online.
No comments online. Very good. We will move on to the consent calendar. Are there any items on the consent calendar that a colleague of mine would like to have pull further discussion?
Supervisor, we did have the one that the clerk recorder requested that we pull so that she could make a few comments on it.
Very good. And that would be item F, I believe. So, Rebecca, why don't you go ahead and come on up? I think now would be the appropriate time. Good morning. All right. Looks like are you rested now or
Well, I'm
catching
not
up?
rested, but interesting day. Rebecca Martinez, Clerk Recorder Registrar. Thank you for allowing me the time to a discussion about what is on the agenda, the consent agenda, actually. But I did want to provide you with a little bit of information regarding the election that just passed. First, I'd like to say that I realize that using or utilizing the government center as a vote center is kind of disruptive to operations around here. But this government center is the most visible and highly used vote center within the county. This is where people come. Nearly 30% of all of the people who voted came to this government center to vote. And that was 15,500 people that were served. 11,800 were served through the drop box that's out front alone. So that's how much traffic went through the driveway. That's how much traffic, or slightly less than that, used the government center parking. Not to mention, we had a 70% turnout, not our highest for a presidential election, but still a good number for us. But in addition, we had the closest congressional race in the country. That's huge for us. It ended up with about 187 vote difference, of course, not in Madera, but district-wide for sure. This election was probably the biggest and the most crucial of my entire career. Conducting elections has so many moving pieces, and they're all very intricate. And there can be, mistakes that happen throughout that process. And those are the things that go wrong that you have no control over. We were fortunate that no one tried to start fires to our drop boxes. We had to go to Plan B in the event that someone did start a fire, but we took some action to prevent that from happening, so we should be okay for future elections. All in all, our election was a success, even with the bomb sniffing dog that was brought in due to a bomb threat. I think he was a union dog, actually, because in the middle of bomb sniffing, he took a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was hilarious. What is most important to me, and I think it should be to all of us, Madera County shined on election day. I have never, ever been more proud of my community and the department heads, employees that I work alongside every day. I was overwhelmed by the genuine support and concern over our election, over our elections by department heads of Madera County that called me directly to offer assistance in any way that they could. They knew that the election was crucial. They knew that we had anticipated threats of all kinds and people who just wanted to cause trouble. And so I was overwhelmed by their offer of support in any way that they could assist us. And those are people that I would like to recognize, the department heads, not their staff, because they're really too numerous to mention, but they know who they are. Not one person did a thing that offered assistance to me to hinder our processes in any way. First of all, I'd like to thank Jay Varney, our CAO. Thank you for having the forethought to block off the first level parking for us. I know it's because you know that we typically have many, many car accidents in the parking structure on election day. It is interesting. They forget how to drive, I suppose. And for asking people to work from home so that we weren't clogging up the first floor where we had the vote center open. And using the freight elevator was also a good idea, so we could route people just straight up onto the second and fourth floors. Also, Yvette worked her heart out in the drive-through. I tried to send her home several times. She continued to work out there into the dark. She had a partner out there with her, and they were both, and memory doesn't serve what her name was, but they were out there for a long time. She might have been wearing high heels too. I was totally impressed. 6-inch heels out there was impressive. I'd also like to thank Tyson Pogue and his officers. He always provides us with anything that we need, whether it's signage, lights, officers to patrol. His officers escort all my boat center workers back to Central Count, and that's a huge assistance to us. So thank you. Gino Chiramonte, the police chief for Madera, also provided us with escorts and patrolled our drop boxes regularly to ensure that no one was tampering in any way. Chris Childers, chief of probation, offered us many of his officers to assist us in any way possible. Sally Moreno, our DA, also offered us investigators to come over and assist us with anything that we needed. Krista Riggs, the librarian, so thankful for her. She was very willing to assist us in any way that we needed. Matt Treber, well, that guy, he offered us anything that we needed. Whatever the number was of employees that I needed, he gave me to do various jobs, whether it was to go pick up ballots from outside in county, whatever it was, he sent me folks. And I couldn't have done it with most of these people for sure. Sarah Boss offered staff and offered to bring over her mobile unit for me just to handle the flow. Deborah Martinez has always been very willing to share full-time employees to work at the vote centers. And one of them actually serves as one of our Punjabi translators here in this particular vote center. Karen Scribner, clerk to the board, offered me extra help to work on several days, not just one day. David Richstone, our auditor, said if I need anything to give him a call. Tanya Say, director of IT, she allows one of her folks to do translations for us in Punjabi language also. And she also ensures that her IT folks are available to me at all times during an election. So very helpful. Lastly, I'd like to thank Dr. Angel Reyna from Madera Community College District. He reached out. He very much wants to be a vote center out there at the college, and he's always willing to do whatever is needed. I'd like to thank all of our vote center workers who worked tirelessly without fail. They were there. They put in about 16 hours on election day, not to mention all the days ahead of that of election day. Also, my staff, they worked under the most strenuous of conditions, never complaining. They were always courteous through good times and bad times. Seriously. The staff in the mailroom had to ensure that our mail wasn't laced with fentanyl. They had the arduous task of opening up all of the envelopes before they were received in the elections division. I'd like to name my staff: Jacqueline Luna, Stephen Serrano, Justin White, Daniel Garcia, Elizabeth York, Vanessa Rodriguez, Juan Pineda, Jose Gonzalez, Kyle Absher, Ann Marks, Crystal Cortez, Claudia Trujillo, Mary Perlongo, Leilani Reynoso, Marisol Hernandez, Annette Wilson, Sylvia Almanza. She's the one that worked in the mailroom and did some excellent handling of mail. Dina Chevron, our extra help, and Giselle Martinez. I also want to extend a huge thank you to all of our voters. Those are the people that I serve, for a peaceful, respectful election. We had no problems at any vote center wherein we had to ask someone to leave. That's a first. In 2020, we had to have people leave. They refused to remove hats, cover t-shirts that had the names of their favorite candidate and or whether they were taking a position on a measure, and we had none of that. It went very, very smoothly. And I managed to stay off CNN, and so I call that a great day. My last request is that you accept my certification of results for the November 5th presidential election. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Great job. Any other comments regarding our consent calendar items? Any members of the public have a comment regarding our consent calendar? Seeing and hearing none,
Move to approve?
I'll second.
we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chairman Poitras?
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
very good. Thank you very much. We'll move on to our discussion items and 6A.
6A, Board of Supervisors Department, presentation of a proclamation honoring Patricia Taylor's 25th anniversary as Executive Director of the Madera County Transportation Commission.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank you for being in attendance this morning for this great day. We're honoring a lot of people and recognizing a lot of people for 25 years of service. And while I'm making my remarks, I'm going to ask Patricia Taylor to join us. She's way back there in the corner trying to hide. Reason I'm not sure why, but so come on over. So it was 20 years ago this month. I had just been elected to the Madera City Council. Many of you will remember our former police chief, Gordon Skeels. He was mayor at the time, and he is making appointments. And so he says, "Hey, Rob, how'd you like to be our appointee or one of our people on Madera County Transportation Commission?" And I said, "Yeah, sounds good. You know, transportation, you know, I'm in banking. I'm all about, you know, business and economy and moving the ball down the field. So that sounds great." So it was the very next month that I attended my first MCTC meeting, and I met Tricia, and little did I know that she'd already been the executive director at that time for roughly, well, into her 6th year, and she was actually in her 11th year as a member of the commission. So fast forward 25 years later, or 20 years later, get those numbers right, and Tricia has celebrated her 25th anniversary as the executive director of MCTC and has in her 32nd year on the commission. And so I'd like to, since we're recognizing people that have 25 years of service, I think it's important that we recognize one of our most important partners. Many people in this room probably really don't have an idea of what MCTC does. Well, it's an agency that assists the county and the 2 cities in our county with transportation projects, moving, coordinating funding, working with us to get grants, state funding, federal funding. They're not a real visible agency, but they're crucial to our success. In fact, this is probably the first time many of you have even heard of Madera County Transportation Commission, and certainly Tricia Taylor, even though she's been with the agency for 31 years. So I just like to mention a few things in regards to Tricia's achievements, is that she has worked hard as building a foundation for the Transportation Commission and the agency to deliver high quality infrastructure and services. She's maximized funding opportunities, again, coordinating, leveraging funding for our roads and projects. She has been instrumental in helping to pass 2 sales tax measures with the potential of generating over $1 billion of investments. And so MCTC, they're not part of the campaign, but they're part of the education, but they work hand in hand alongside to inform and to let people know how important our measure is and what it means. And I'd just like to say this has been with significant opposition within our county from those who wish to suppress our economy and move along their own political agendas. And in spite of that, our citizens voted to move ahead, and it's to the benefit of all of our citizens in Madera County. Editorial comment, thank you. And under her leadership, Madera County has secured millions of dollars for crucial investments. And I'd just like to add that with our Measure T, it's has the potential of adding over $1 billion over the 20 years. Tricia is also the longest serving executive director of a metropolitan planning organization in her field. 25 years, there's nobody in the state of California that has been here, and it shows her devotion to our county. She's had many offers. She's had opportunities to go elsewhere, but she has chosen to spend her time and spend her career and her future continuing to move the ball down the field for our county. She is also the chair of something called Self-Help Counties Coalition. It's a statewide organization for those counties that have a measure. And again, it's in recognition of her achievements, her leadership, and her ability to work with people and to build coalitions. And we could go on I think you get the idea at this point. But it's her professionalism and visionary leadership that have profoundly shaped the future of transportation in Madera County. So, Tricia, before I present the proclamation, the mic is yours.
Well, thank you very much. It's actually hard to follow. Wow. It's truly an honor to serve Madera County. What makes this job so rewarding is the people we serve every day. And I am deeply grateful for the board that has always been there to support me. And they've been there to, they're trusting me with some decisions and recommendations that we make. And with that, their support, it's makes our job easier. But just to kind of go down a little bit of a memory lane, a little bit to kind of give you a little bit of context. In 1993, the Madera County Transportation Commission did not have an executive director. And the director was actually executive secretary, who was the road commissioner of Madera County. And so my predecessor, who took on the job as executive director, recruited me from the Council of Fresno County Governments, and basically with the task of setting up a program for the 1990 Measure A that passed, and also to clean up the organization a little bit because they were losing a little bit of funding. And so our job really, because as Supervisor mentioned, it's hard to describe what we do. We make sure that all of our plans and programs remain current, so that our local jurisdictions, the city of Madera, the city of Chowchilla, the county of Madera, remain eligible for state and federal funding. That's really the main purpose of our organization, and to leverage additional funding. And so back in 1993, the population was somewhere around 98,000. Today, it's about 165, 166,000. So there's been some growth in Madera County. We were not a metropolitan planning organization when I came on in 1993. We were a rural county. We did not have the population to support a metropolitan planning organization. So it wasn't until the 2000 census that we became a metropolitan planning organization, which basically means you're federally recognized. That was very important for Madera to get on the map to a certain extent. Otherwise, we'd have to go through Fresno for all of our federal approvals for our transportation funding. Yeah, and we had no transit in 1993. We had a dial-a-ride. We didn't, now we have different forms of transportation in Chowchilla, the city, and the mountain area. We still have a ways to go, but we now have transit services being operated by our local jurisdictions. We had our meetings in the Board of Supervisors chambers, Supervisor Gilbert here. We did not have a conference room. We've moved 3 times since the time that I've have been there in 1993. But I took over as executive director in 1999. Sort of wished my parents were here to kind of witness some of the comments that were made, because They are the ones who instilled in me how to serve people, dedication, and commitment. And my dad worked for over 30 years for DuPont, and my mom very much involved in volunteerism and serving people. And so they instilled that in me. As Supervisor mentioned, yes, there has been other potential offers, but Madera is really important to me, and I'm so thankful to have our board support. It's been wonderful, and we have passed 2 measures. The renewal measures are very important for Madera County to leverage. Transportation projects take forever to build, and so your patience, board's patience, the public's patience, very important because it's not an easy task to build a freeway, a road, a sidewalk. It takes years. And it takes a lot of funding. And so I've also seen over the years a recession or money falling from trees, and so we've been through ups and downs, projects on hold because the state is in the flux. And so it's just been such an adventure. Serving as executive director for 25 years, is being part of the commission for 31 years, now in my 32nd year, has been one of the greatest privileges of my life, besides my children, of course. And, I wouldn't be here without the incredible support of this board, my board, the authority board, dedicated community, exceptional commission staff. They're the best. And actually, Troy McNeil is here in the audience, here to support me. We have the best staff. They're dedicated. They've been there for a number of years. I think that says something. And they're always there to have my back. They're there for my support. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the Madera County Transportation team. My family has also been by my side, as you heard Rebecca mention. There's ups and downs and challenges and opportunities. Of course, we've faced all of those through my tenure here at the Madera County Transportation Commission. But I wouldn't change it for anything. There's been some fun times, some challenging times, and some nerve-wracking times, but it's all been good. And so this recognition means a lot to me, very much. And for your ongoing support, the board support, I'm truly appreciative. So thank you.
Very good, and thank you. And I'm going to ask my colleagues to join me, and I'm going to ask the chairperson of the Madera County Transportation Commission, Supervisor Gonzalez, to present the proclamation. So let's go ahead and gather.
I wanted to say a quick word about Tricia. In the last 16 years that I've been with the Board of Supervisors, I've had the privilege of working with Tricia on the Transportation Commission. And we've gone to DC and done the Valley Voice, Sacramento and DC. And I've been around her a lot. She has a brilliant mind to disseminate technical information. But I can tell you this, she's just a genuinely good person. And she has a great heart, and her heart is for this county. And I just really appreciate her for that.
Right. Thank you very much. We'll move on to public hearings. 7A.
7A, Community and Economic Development Department, Planning Division, rezone Tom Pistachio, Madera, hearing to consider adoption of a resolution approving mitigated negative declaration and Mitigated Monitoring Program. Hearing to consider an adoption of a resolution for project 2022-003, General Plan Amendment from Agricultural Exclusive to Highway Service Commercial. Hearing to consider adoption of an ordinance approving a rezone 22022-004 from Agricultural Rural 5-acre District to Commercial Rural General District. This property is owned by Pistachio Tom G. and Dolores and is located on the the west side of Golden State Boulevard, approximately 200 feet north of the intersection with Avenue 18.5, 18612 Golden State Boulevard, Madera, APN 029-260-038.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jamie Bax with Community and Economic Development. With me here also is Sam Roche, Senior Planner. He's going to briefly go through a PowerPoint of what the project is. This item was presented to the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval to your board of this particular application. So with that, after the presentation, we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Supervisors. So as previously stated, this is the applicant is requesting for a general plan amendment and a zone change from land use designation agriculture exclusive to highway service commercial, and a zone change from agricultural rural to commercial rural general. CEQA analysis was completed on this project with a mitigated negative declaration. Things that I would like to highlight would be one, the air quality. There are sensitive receptors that have been located to the north of the project. But the mitigations put in place will be landscaping, 250-foot buffer zone for any truck tractors and trailer tractors within that area to ensure that we can keep the air quality sufficient for the residents that are located in the area. The trucks won't be able to idle. Plus, there will be a circulation plan on the project site to minimize any of the CO2 emissions that would be done there. A traffic study has also been completed on the project. The initial project size of the site plan was over 400,000 square feet. However, the conceptual site plan now is below that 400,000 square feet. There has been language to identify if there's a change, I believe, of the 250,000 proposed square feet that will be brought back to the planning director, so that way they can determine if any additional studies or entitlements will be required to move forward with that project. So this is the general plan. As you can see, it's an agricultural and HSC. It is got two different types of land use designations. The general plan land use designation change will bring this into one land use designation of highway service commercial. It also has a dual zoning of AR5 and CRG. Again, the zone change will make this parcel one zoning of CRG. This is the conceptual site plan of the project. Again, this is conceptual, which is subject to change. Back in 1984, this site did go through a general plan amendment and rezone, and is now brought before you again for a general plan amendment, again from agriculture to commercial, and a zone change from agriculture. It was brought before the Planning Commission, and they do recommend approval of the project. The general plan 2022-002 and zone change 2022-004, along with the mitigated negative declaration 2024-008 and the associated mitigation monitoring program. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to entertain.
Very good. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from my colleagues regarding this item? Yes.
Yes, Chair. Thank you. Sam, you mentioned sensitive receptors, I think, to the north. I'm assuming that's homes or?
Yes, that's 4 residential homes to the north.
And they were all noticed during the Planning Commission meeting?
They were all noticed. Yes, they were all.
Did we receive any comments?
We did have 2 people speaking against it. They were concerned about the project affecting livestock, but we haven't received anything since the planning.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. There's no other supervisor.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that area is already replete with industrial trucking and truck noises and what have you. So I don't know how that would conflict with existing livestock. It's already been there for eons. And this is just augmenting that a little bit. But I don't think it's a significant change, in my opinion. Am I?
No, I agree. To the east of you, you have a pilot, you have a hotel, you have restaurants. A matter of fact, on that parcel itself, there is, I believe like a third of it's already into truck operations. All we're doing is
Right.
bringing that parcel into conformance. I think it makes sense.
They're like, I think 3 or 4 different truck operations around the repair, tire and sales and what have you. So it's just not really a huge change.
Very good. If there's no other comments from my colleagues, I'll open it up to the public. This is a public hearing. Are there any members of the public who have a comment or like to speak about or regarding this item? The public hearing is open. Is
None
there anybody?
online.
Nobody's online. So we will close the public hearing and bring the item back for action.
I move to approve the action and the negative mitigated declaration and monitoring.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank
Very
you,
good.
supervisors.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for the research.
7B.
Board of Directors, Special Districts, Maintenance District Number 73A, Quartz Mountain Public Works Department, Administrative Services Division, hearing to adopt a resolution establishing increased water rates and levying the increased rates within the Maintenance District Number 73A, Quartz Mountain.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrea Salgado, Deputy Director with Public Works. Before you today is a rate increase for MD 73. Their last rate was set in 2017, and that rate did have a debt repayment. That rate has been great for the past 5 years. They were able to pay off $51,000 of their cash flow loans, and they are now currently out of debt. Because that rate did have a debt repayment option, what it did not do is build reserve. And so now with this new rate, we are setting the district up to be flush operations and maintenance wise and start to build a reserve. They do have a compliance order from the state for iron and manganese, and that little bit of reserve will help start to get us to where we need to be with trying to lift that compliance order. We did send out the public notices to all 139 property owners on October 24th. At this point in time, we would need 71 written protests in order to defeat the rate increase. We have 2 protests at this point in time. So with that, I am here for any questions.
Very good. Are there any questions regarding this item? Colleagues? Seeing and hearing none, this is a public hearing. Are there any members of the public who have a comment regarding this item? Nobody in-house? How about online?
None online.
Not online. Okay, we will close the public hearing and bring the item back for action.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. 7C.
Board of Directors, Special Districts, Maintenance District 58, Sierra Highlands, Public Works Department, Administrative Services Division, hearing to adopt a resolution establishing increased water rates and levying the increased rates within Maintenance District 58, Sierra Highlands.
Good morning. Andrea Salgado, Deputy Director of Public Works, here with you again for MD 58 rate increase. This rate increase is a little bit different. MD 58 is extremely small. There are only 29 property owners, and so the impact of increased expenses is exponential on such a small district. So their last rate was set in 2019. At that point in time, they had no debt, but they did have a potential state-funded project that was on the plate. And so at that point in time, we had to do audited financials and start the application process. And the cost of the application process, along with increased expenses, just because of all the things that happened in 2020, the district did go into debt. And so at this point in time, the rate increase is to get the district flush operations and maintenance wise and pay off their debt. So the current rate is $84.48, and the initial jump, which is in January, goes to $116.53. And then in July, there is another jump, July 1st, and that July jump actually starts to recoup the debt repayment portion, which is $18.27 per month. The district does have a compliance order for iron and manganese, and that was what the project was hoping to mitigate. Unfortunately, the state did not come through with funding, and so those expenses are still left to be paid by the district. We did send out notices on October 24th, again, to the 29 property owners. We did hold a community meeting on November 18th, and it was well received. At this point in time, we would need 16 protests, and we have 0. So with that, I'm here for any questions.
Very good. Are there any questions from my colleagues?
Chair, just a quick
Mhm.
comment, if I may. Andrea, I just want to thank you for going out and doing that community meeting with us. I think it makes a huge difference when we can go out there and have that conversation with folks. Also want to thank the Gilberts for opening up their home. They're here today, I'm assuming to provide comment if needed. But thank you for opening up your home and allowing for that opportunity to us to meet with the residents. And lastly, but not leastly, Melissa, thank you for all your help in organizing so many community meetings, not just this one. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. This is a public hearing, and I'll open up the public hearing at this time. Are there any members of the public that have anything they'd like to share? Seeing and hearing none. Anybody online?
No comments online.
Okay, we will close the public hearing and bring the item back for action.
And Chair, there is no majority protest on this item or the previous one.
Right. Excellent.
Move to approve?
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. 7D.
7D, Human Resources Department, Public Works Department. Hearing to consider an adoption of a resolution appointing Dominic Tyberski to the position of Director of Public Works and County Road Commissioner.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Shanika Dixon, Department of Human Resources. Today, we're going to be asking for your consideration to adopt a resolution appointing Dominic Tyberski as Madera County's Director of Public Works and Road Commissioner effective December 16th, 2024. Just a little bit about Dominic. Dominic excelled throughout the recruitment process. He comes to the county with more than 13 years of public works experience, many years of engineering experience, also serving as a Director of Public Works to one of our neighboring counties. In addition, Dominic holds a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from California State University, Fresno, as well as a master's of public administration, and is also a licensed professional civil engineer. Mr. Tyberski is also a Madera County resident, and he is with us here today, and I'm going to hand it over to him if he would like to say a few words.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dominic Tyberski. Just want to thank you for the opportunity to serve as your Public Works Director. As a Madera County resident, I'm very excited about the opportunity and the great work that's before us. Very excited to get hit the ground running.
Very good. Thank you, Dominic. Are there any comments from my colleagues?
Welcome.
I do, Mr. Chairman. So not only is he a Madera County resident, he's a District 1 resident.
Yes.
And he's going to be completely impartial in his job and apply services equally amongst the entire county, not just District 1, right? All right.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome aboard. Thank you.
Yeah, because remember the District 1 supervisor, that's only one vote.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
Oh, very good. We have a motion. And is there any comments from the public?
Mr. Chairman, I will take a minute here just to offer my congratulations to Dominic and thanks to the board for the support. I think I may be the most excited person here today for this appointment. So I'm excited to have Dominic join the team. I'd be remiss, though, if I didn't thank Mr. Doug Wilson as well, who has been our contract road commissioner for a little over 4.5 years now. So Doug served us well in that role. I believe he'll still be involved at some level on our State Route 41 construction project as well, leading the team on that one. But again, thank you to the board. Thank you to Dominic, and looking forward to getting him on board here, as well as thanks to Doug for his service. So thank you.
Good morning. Doug Wilson, consulting engineer with Wildan Engineering, with an office at 2014 Tulare Street, Suite 115 in Fresno. I have also been serving as your road commissioner. And I have known Dominic for a number of years. And, you know, the qualification in the Streets and Highways Code to be a road commissioner is you're a licensed civil engineer in the state of California. And I have verified that Dominic has been registered civil engineer in the state of California for about 18 years. Be due for renewal in about 2. He's also a graduate in civil engineering from Fresno State, so he has long-term local ties, which will be a value, I believe, to Madera County. I have known Dominic for a number of years. I don't know exactly how many, both through my role with as a consultant and my involvement in the County Engineers Association, both statewide and throughout the valley. And Dominic has been a part of that organization as well. And that's a valuable asset to the county as well, I believe, because he's made those connections with others that can be of value. None of us have all the answers. And he has maintained those contacts where he has other people that he knows and can rely on to make those calls to and say, I'm facing this issue. Have you dealt with it? And I think that will be a valuable asset. I also, through my experience with Dominic, know him to be a very dedicated, principled, honest individual who will serve you well, in my opinion.
Well, thank you, and he'll be able to prove it starting next Monday. There you go. All right. If we vote yes. Okay, first of all, any other comments from the public? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Second.
David.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers, Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to item 6B.
Board of Supervisors Department, Certificate of Recognition honoring Darren McMecken on being awarded the second in command John Sully Memorial Award.
Morning, everyone. Thank you, Chairman and members of the board. I'd like to invite Under Sheriff McMecken up here. You know, Under Sheriff McMecken's one of the most humble and easygoing guys I know. He never grandstands and he never really enjoys the spotlight. So I'm going to take a few minutes just to do that here for him. As a prior undersheriff, you know, I really understand the importance of that second in command. We really rely on them, and without them, none of our offices within the county, let alone any sheriff's office, would be effective. I think in law enforcement, when we're dealing with critical incidents, it's really important to have that strong second in command to be able to fill in the holes and balance you out. They're the bridge between our ideas and their successful implementation. They ensure that our missions are successful and that our offices remain fair, professional, and organized. They act as our disciplinarians, coaches, and our motivational speakers. It's so important for us to have someone that we can trust and someone that balances us out and fills in our gaps. It's every sheriff's desire to find that perfect teammate. So it was my pleasure to have the honor of awarding the 8th annual Seconds in Command John Sully Award Memorial Award this last month. It was presented to one undersheriff for the entire state. Applications are taken, and then basically the committee the votes on who they want for that award. So Undersheriff McMecken, he's really the epitome of what that award represents. Exemplary leadership, professionalism, unwavering dedication to the safety and well-being of Madera County Sheriff's Office and the community we serve. He served Madera County with distinction for 37 years, serving not only in his current role, but nearly every single assignment within our agency. He's been an invaluable member of the SWAT and dive team for decades. His education includes, he graduated from the National Academy, class 252. He holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice management, a master's degree in public administration. In 2021, he was appointed as assistant sheriff and tasked with merging the Department of Corrections with the Madera County Sheriff's Office. That merger required a seamless integration into our everyday operations of these two very distinct departments. They were set on a clear path to success under his leadership, and he worked to upgrade their equipment and modernize their procedures. He's working to upgrade our aging radio system infrastructure. He created our first professional standards unit. He implemented our current policy and procedures manual. He oversees our budget and ensures our top tier services while maintaining our balanced financial outlook. He's addressed staffing needs in all of our divisions, and most of them has brought them up to nearly full staffing levels. He's mentored others to take over leadership roles within the department. And, like I said before, he's just really known for his professionalism and integrity. He's trusted by nearly everyone within our department. He conducts himself with this just amazing calm and professionalism, regardless of what's going on. Not much phases under Sheriff McMecken. He supports his county and our office, and does everything he can to create a safer environment for the employees as well as our citizens. During the presentation of that award in Ventura, his wife Jennifer and son Colin were able to be there, so that was extremely special. She's been by his side nearly his entire career, and it was really great to have them there to celebrate that. He wasn't able to be here today, but I know she's out there virtually watching on the internet. I want to point out that this award did come with a $5,000 scholarship that'll be awarded to a youth within our county, and Undersheriff McMecken will be part of selecting who that person is. And as far as I know, this is the only Madera County Undersheriff that's ever received this award. So it's a true honor to be here today, and I'm so grateful for you to give us this time, Chairman, to recognize this amazing accomplishment. He is a man of few words. With that, I'm going to give him an opportunity to say a few of those words if he so chooses, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Chairman. And again, thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very humbled to receive this award. It's very surprising to me. So it's been a long ride. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I have no regrets, and I really appreciate the support of the command staff, Sheriff Pogue, and of course, the Board of Supervisors. None of the things that I've been able to do, I could have done without everyone's support. So it's very much appreciated, and I think this award exemplifies the work that we've done together. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. We do have a certificate of recognition. At least that's what the agenda says. Maybe that's just a firm hand. We still will go down and take a picture. And are there any comments from the pub? Oh, here we go. Are there any members of the public who have a comment regarding the undersheriff, this item? Seeing and hearing none. So it's a virtual proclamation. So there you go. All right, thank you. 6C.
County Administration Department presentation by Assemblywoman Esmeralda Soria, providing a state legislative and budget update.
Good morning, Chair, Supervisors, and Madera County residents. It is an honor to be here this morning with you. First, to kind of hear some of the business that you guys have already undertaken, and then the recognitions that you guys, just gave to Mr. Metkin. Also, great to hear the report from Madera County Clerk Rebecca Martinez, and how great the elections went here in Madera County, and all the incredible work people had to do to make sure that that happened. Very proud to represent all of you. And so proud that the voters of Assembly District 27 also allowed me the opportunity to continue to work with all of you for the next 2 years. And so we're excited about that. I do want to say personally, thank you for the partnerships with our office over the last 2 years. We look forward to doing some great work. I know that we have a number of different challenges in our region, and wherever the state can help, we will continue to stay committed to ensure that Madera has a seat at the table and a voice in Sacramento. As you all know from our work together and work with other elected officials at the state and federal level, the partnerships between all of us is extremely critical, along with partnerships with nonprofits and community organizations. And so it is really going to take all of us together to ensure that Maderans get the resources they need, especially from the state government, and that their needs are met. And so I want to highlight a couple of things that we had in the last 2 years that I had the opportunity to represent you all. And despite a tough budget last year, we were still able to bring significant investments to our region, and that includes, for Madera. I think if you guys all recall, when I first met with you all as a new assembly person, I told you guys that my number one priority was reopening Madera Community Hospital. Well, that's obviously underway. It's taking time, but there are so many pieces, and Supervisor Poitras, as a former board member, you understand how complicated all the regulatory challenges that they have to go through, especially through the reopening process. But nevertheless, the state continues to stay committed, and myself, along with Senator Caballero, to ensure that the doors reopen, hopefully in this early 2025. The state committed $57 million, which we're very excited to, again, be a partner in that reopening, because we know how critical having a hospital in a county such as your size is critical for the health of this community. A couple other investments that we also brought for Madera County was $1 million for Lions Park upgrades. More recently, we did announce $500,000 for the Madera County Food Bank expansion project, which we announced a couple months ago, or about a month and a half ago. A need that I know Ryan mentioned to me about a year ago, and they started that construction, but still had that gap for the expansion project. So we're very proud to be able to bring that funding to you all, so that this community can get fed, especially those that need it the most. Also, we, during the budget year, one of the at least important investments that come to, in particular, the San Joaquin Valley, is the farmer funding that many of our small farmers asked for. In the 2 years that I've been in Sacramento, we brought $77 million, which predominantly benefits the 8 counties here in the valley, for farmers to replace any of the old tractors that they have, and give them, these grant dollars to make it a little bit easier. We've also been able to bring over $250,000 back to local taxpayers. As you all may know, if a constituent has an issue either with EDD, DNV, that franchise tax board, our office is kind of at the front lines, and we are your liaison. And so in the first 2 years, we've brought $250,000 back to people's pockets, which is, a lot of money for families here in the Valley. We've also done many philanthropic fundraising. In the 2 years, we raised 300,000 in various community investments that came to our district. As you guys have gone invited to some of these events, in the first 2 years, we gave thousands of backpacks to school children. More recently, we hosted our holiday turkey giveaway in Parksdale. We also have our high school leadership program, which is the Young Legislators program, which Maderans also have been a part of last year. And we are kicking off actually this week our second cohort, and we do have Maderans represented, which is really exciting for us. Also, just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a recap of some legislation that we did last year. Last year, I had several pieces of legislative priorities that did make it through the both chambers and got signed by the governor. One in particular, obviously, healthcare has been front and center here in our community. And one of the challenges that we heard from the administrators and folks that were involved with Madera Community Hospital was that health plans would take a lot longer to reimburse hospitals. And so a hospital that is small, that relies especially on mostly Medi-Cal patients, want to get paid quickly because they don't have a big enough budget to be able to cover some of those bills. And so it was a prompt payment bill that we got signed by the governor to ensure that small rural critical hospitals get reimbursed in a timely manner and aren't having to fight health plans for the money that they should get paid, given that they've already provided the service. I'm very proud that that bill was signed into law. We also got AB 2900 signed into law, which directs the Air Resources Board to provide technical assistance to heavy-duty agricultural vehicle owners, which are, right now facing the challenge of transitioning to clean vehicles. And so my hope and desire is that our region gets not just the resources to help in that transition, but that we're helping with the technical piece. I've heard directly from many of our small farmers the challenges in navigating all the different programs that do exist. And then, it's just a complicated application, or they don't know how to access these funding mechanisms. So we're trying to make it easier with that piece of legislation that got signed. The other issue that I also worked on and unfortunately didn't get signed into law, but was a big piece of legislation that we're hoping to bring back in maybe in some type of form, is AB 2104, which was working to establish a bachelor's in nursing at the community college. So like Madera Community College, we know that we have a nursing shortage in our region. And that was very apparent, especially during the pandemic, where the hospital, I know here locally, was relying on 40% of traveler nurses. And so my hope and desire is that we're building our local workforce and that it's our residents here in Madera that end up, one, getting those jobs that will be filled as the hospital reopens, but that are getting trained so that they can be the future nurses and doctors of this community. So we will continue to work on that issue, and I'm looking forward to garnering support from our local partners like yourself. The other thing that we worked on last year related to public safety, I introduced a bill of AB 1960 to increase penalties for retail theft. This bill was in partnership with our local law enforcement. I worked very closely with our DAs and other law enforcement partners. It also became part of the retail theft package, and that aimed to expand criminal penalties to retail theft, increase police and prosecutor tools to combat theft, and help take down those who profit from smash and grabs and property crimes, which is an issue that many of our neighborhoods had been facing over several years. And so that bill also got into sign, along with, we all know that also Prop 36 was approved overwhelmingly by the voters to ensure that folks are held accountable. The other thing that we also were a part of and got through legislation was SB 867, which was the climate bond, and the climate bond was overwhelmingly supported by the voters in the state of California. That means that they are putting $10 billion in investments in water infrastructure, wildfire prevention measures, parks, and smart agricultural development. And so I bring that up because I want your team and you guys to start looking at potential opportunities for projects and the needs that you guys have so that we can work together as those monies are appropriated through the subsequent budgets, and we're working to fund the needs that exist here in our community. As I mentioned, there's different buckets of funding. I know that the consistent request that I get from communities across the district is obviously there are a tremendous amount of needs with infrastructure, but one of the ones that we funded through the budget was investments in parks. And we know that a lot of communities don't have the extra dollars for parks. And so the climate bond included $100 million for urban greening, including investments that support expanded urban greening programs, creating of green recreational parks, green schoolyards, and park poor communities. There's also an additional $200 million for creation, expansion, and renovation of new neighborhood parks in park poor neighborhoods. The other thing that it includes for the first time, as you guys all know, one of the things that does not get funded as much is rehabbing of existing public facilities. And so I know many times small local governments don't have the extra dollars to operate and maintain what they've already built. And so there's going to be funding for that to be able to rehab and operate and maintain existing public investments that are already in our neighborhoods. So we'll stay tuned with you guys. We will be providing to all our communities probably a Zoom meeting to kind of go over the various funding sources, but just wanted to give you guys a broad overview in terms of those dollars that will be available for communities like you guys to go after. And then just kind of to close, I do want to just give you guys a sense of what we've already introduced. As you guys all know, we started our legislative year Monday, December 2nd, and I was sworn in for my second term. So we're looking at what our legislative package is going to look like. One of the top issues that I'm hoping to focus on is on housing in our communities, especially for rural communities. One, we continue to get left out when it comes to certain state programs that exist, especially because many of our communities have a struggle to get a pro-housing designation. And so what we're looking at, we introduced AB 36. And this has been in partnership. We've reached out to a majority of our local governments to get their feedback. So our legislation is really going to be informed by our local community. And so what this bill does, it essentially streamlines the process for smaller cities and counties to get a pro-housing designation by integrating some of the application process into their existing housing elements. I know many of you guys have, the state requires the same types of reports and the same number of reports from your county, just as it does in Los Angeles. Well, Los Angeles has way more staff, way more resources. And so we're trying to make sure that we are put in an even playing field. And that is my goal, to ensure that rural counties like Madera have that shot in getting those resources here to our local community, because we know housing is a big issue in our community. Not just affordable housing, we need to make sure families can actually have the opportunity to own their own home. And so that's one of the bills that I've first introduced. I've also introduced AB 32, which is related to tribal court judges. We want to make sure that tribal judges also have legal protections equal to the legal protections that state and federal judges have. So we're working with our tribal communities on that bill. And our third bill that we introduced last week was also AB 58, dealing with post-secondary education. You guys all know that here in our valley, we have tremendous educational assets, Fresno State and UC Merced, and including our community colleges as well. And so we are working to make sure that we're expanding access and opportunities to all of those residents that want to pursue higher education. And then just lastly, want to say that we are looking forward to hear from all of you guys. Our office is still taking legislative proposals. So if you guys have any ideas or things that you guys have come across that you feel that we can take on to make better, or something new that we can help with, we are happy to consider that. And we will be working and reaching out to all of you to make sure that we get that within the timeline. Introductions are going to be going through the first 2 months of this new 2025. So we look forward to working with each and every one of you, again, to ensure that we, even in a tough year, that we get the resources that our communities desperately need. And so again, it is my deep honor to continue to represent Assembly District 27 residents, including parts of Madera County. I was very happy to see that Madera County voters supported us overwhelmingly the second go around. And so we're so delighted to continue our partnership with all of you. And then want to invite everyone, we have on December 18th, we have our second annual holiday open house. And it will be in our Merced office. So we want to invite anyone that wants to come out from 4:30 to 7 p.m. We are located at 512 West 18th Street in downtown Merced. So you're all invited to come, and we invite the community residents to also come share some great food, entertainment, and some holiday cheer during this holiday season. Again, thank you all for the time.
Very good. Thank you very much. And Assemblywoman, thank you so much for your advocacy and continued support. And we're looking forward to working together to move the ball down the field. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. I just wanted to thank the Assemblywoman. Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for always going to bat for Madera County. I understand that we are doing a review of our legislative platform, and so we will make sure that we get that over to you once it's reviewed and approved. And then I see that you are assigned to several committees, and including the chair of the Ag Committee. And so with Ag being, our economic driver here in Madera County, I'd like to invite you to host a committee meeting here in our chambers if you'd like, and if the board so allows. But you're definitely welcome to do that. And again, just thank you for representing us very well.
Good. Thank you very much. Are there any comments from the public? Anybody online?
None online.
Okay, very good. Well, let's move on to item 6D.
Human Resources Department presentation of service credit awards to employees who obtained 25 years or more service of county service.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Shanika Dixon, Department of Human Resources. I'm glad to be here today to be able to present this item and to recognize a number of employees for their years of service with the County of Madera. Each year in the month of December, county employees are recognized for reaching service milestones, and department heads recognize and present certificates to those county employees who have reached 5, 10, 15, and 20 years of service, which includes this time around 150 employees total, for a total of 1,700 years of service. So that's great just for the 5 to 20 years. So additionally, this morning, I'm privileged to present a special Board of Supervisor recognition to 13 individuals for reaching service milestones of 25, 30, and 35 years of service with Madera County. So what we're going to do is try to be a little more efficient. And I'm going to ask department heads to come up when you hear your department name. And so we're going to announce the recipients by department. And if you are present and you are receiving an award, when you hear your name being announced, we ask that you make your way up to the podium to be recognized and presented with a plaque for your years of service, public service. So department heads, if you hear your name, please come up to the podium. And after all honorees are recognized, we'd like to ask them to stay in board chambers, and we will be proceeding with celebration of coffee and pastries in the room right outside after a photo. So first, we're going to start off with child support services. And we have 3 employees who have reached 25 years of service. So I will name the employees off. Araceli Maciel, Child Support Specialist 3. Leticia Gutierrez, Child Support Assistant 2. And Ofelia Maciel, Child Support Supervisor.
Chairman and the board, I'm very proud to present this
25-year certificate for Araceli Maciel. She is our child support lead in our department. Is one of the best people. She takes the ball and runs with it. She is just a strong member of our team that we appreciate and care for very much. And so I have some flowers for you. And then the next one is for Leticia Gutierrez, Letty. And when they say small but mighty, this is her. She is very, she always wants to deliver the best customer service. She wants to make sure her job is always done, and she cares about the people that she works with and for. And so we appreciate her 25 years of experience as well. Ophelia Maciel is not here today. She just flew to Mexico. Thank you.
Next up, Probation Department. We will be recognizing an individual for reaching 25 years of service. Flora Falcon Torres, Deputy Probation Officer 2. Also recognizing for 30 years of service, Edna Riviera, Deputy Probation Officer 2. And for 35 years of service, Cruz Macias, Probation Technician.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Chris Childers, your Chief Probation Officer. You've heard nearly a century of experience and service to the community in those three names mentioned. That's 90 years if my math serves me right. And I want to say it's a distinct honor to be up here and be able to be part of this presentation for those three individuals. Each one of those individuals have led to betterment of the community, either through rehabilitative programming, getting folks into the programs, public safety, just being an embodiment of probation, balancing rehabilitation and public safety in general. So I'm going to turn over the microphone over to my Deputy Chief, Sandra Mendez, and she's going to go ahead and do the presentation for these folks. So thank you very much.
Chairperson and Board of Supervisors and Chief Chris Childers for allowing me this opportunity to just share some career highlights for our employees, our long-term employees. I'll start with Deputy Probation Officer Flora Falcon Torres. For the past 25 years, DPO Flora Falcon Torres has worked for the County of Madera, currently in the capacity of a Deputy Probation Officer 2. For the first 10 years as a supportive program assistant, all while working full-time and putting herself through college. She attained her Bachelor's of Science degree in criminology and raised her family. She's instilled in them the passion for law enforcement and the military. Flora is not only a true leader, but role model to her entire family and especially her 10 grandchildren. We've seen each other's children grow up in the same schools, and I've seen you flourish tremendously throughout your career. Flora has managed multiple assignments, specifically juvenile high-risk caseloads in which she had a significant impact and ensured their compliance. Also in 2019, she was awarded the department's Officer of the Year. Flora has made a significant impact over the last 8 years in the collaborative partnership with the Madera County Sheriff's Department, representing the department under the Warrant Apprehension Team, which was later named the Problem-Oriented Policing POP Team, with its primary goal to investigate, surveil, and apprehend persons with active bench warrants. The impact of COVID shifted the POP team's focus, and they provided a lot of support for public health during that time. I was frequently told by the administration that Officer Falcon Torres' support was invaluable. She was always the first to volunteer without hesitation, and this is another one of her multiple positive characteristics, when she has served with courage and compassion. Flora was also a committed asset to the Sheriff's Department under the Homeless Outreach Program. And also she has worked for a long time in the crisis negotiation team. She completed the 40-hour basic course as well. She worked closely with MSO admin, and she also received a letter of commendation from Sheriff Tyson Pogue for assisting admin in the 2023 officer-involved shooting in North Fork with the deployment and coordination of staff during the operation. Sheriff Pogue said her expertise and commitment to excellence was truly invaluable.
I personally have communicated numerous needs to Flora, either as her direct supervisor or administrator, and she's always responded swiftly and simply got the job done. Besides the multiple letters of commendation she's received, the most impactful was her work locating at-risk youth who were entrenched in the world of human sex trafficking. She dedicated months of investigation, located young girls, and helped reunify them with their family. Thank you, Flora, for never giving up on them and exemplifying compassion and eagerness to get them the justice they deserve. Although Flora has been recovering from a work-related injury, she still attempted to return to work earlier than expected, but unfortunately wasn't able. Flora, once again, thank you for your loyal 25 years of service and commitment to the County of Madera and our department. You are missed and still needed. We look forward to your return and we wish you a safe and speedy recovery. Congratulations. And then I'll just move on to our 35-year employee here, Cruz Macias. And Cruz has been a staple for Madera County and specifically within our probation department. She started her career in our department as a probation aide at the age of 18. And she supports our officers with the supervision of our low-risk offenders, which is, those caseloads are humongous, and they have a lot of needs. She's extremely knowledgeable and compassionate individual. She's an active listener and just takes her responsibilities with great pride. She's held numerous positions throughout the department and the operations of it, considered an expert in all those areas. But specifically, Cruz has been very patient and understanding and very swift when it's needed. Throughout the year, she's ensures clients receive support services and accountability to help achieve their sobriety. Cruz comes from a hardworking family. They're very close-knit, and she treats her probation family the same. She has many years in the department and has maintained her commitment and loyalty to probation. She is well deserving of this recognition and much, much more. Cruz, we've all grown together in this department and lived through some life-changing experiences. You're an amazing person, a wonderful daughter, sister, wife, mother, grandmother, and of course, a true and faithful friend to so many in our department and in the community. We thank you for all you have done for persons on probation. You've truly affected change and helped their families through so many challenging experiences. Thank you for your 35 years of loyalty to the County of Madera and our department, and for always being so selfless, humble, and always carrying yourself with the utmost integrity and professionalism. You are the epitome of a role model to us all. Thank you. Thank you for your patience, and we'll just step off. Thank you. Mhm.
Thank you. Next up, we're going to be recognizing employees from public health. So both of these individuals have 25 years of service with the County of Madera. Cynthia Melendez, Public Health Education Assistant, and Miguel Chavez, Public Health Education Assistant.
Good morning, Sarah Boss, your Public Health Director. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to highlight some of the employees that have been with Department of Public Health for 25 and 30 years. Cynthia Melendez is not able to join us today, but she has worked for Madera County Department of Public Health in our maternal, child, and adolescent health program, supporting pregnant women with education and resources for 25 years. Natalie Stein, the director of MCH, and the supervisors really wanted to thank Cynthia for her unwavering dedication and commitment to making a difference in people's lives. As a home visitor, she gives hope and support to countless families. She is a true champion and has continuously built resilience, ignite hope, and achieve lasting behavior change as she selflessly serves. Her impact is deeply felt by the community. Cynthia, if you're watching, thank you for your incredible and admirable dedication and years of service to our Department of Community. It's an honor to celebrate her 25 years. And now I'll move on to talk about Miguel Chavez. Miguel began his journey with Department of Public Health in the summer of 1995 as an extra help employee, working on a grant supporting incarcerated teen fathers. In 1997, he became a permanent member of the department. And although we're celebrating 25 years, Miguel has been with the department for nearly 30 years in total. Throughout his career, Miguel has contributed to a wide range of public health programs. His dedication has been evident in his outreach and educational efforts, where he engaged teens, middle school students, and the broader community on critical topics such as healthy lifestyle choices, substance use prevention, and smoking cessation. In 2008, Miguel transitioned to the communicable disease program during a tuberculosis outbreak at a school. This marked the beginning of a distinguished 16-year and counting career with public health in communicable disease, and throughout Madera, he is known for his compassionate and tireless efforts. Miguel has been on the front lines of countless outbreaks and investigations. He's built trust with the community in a way that truly is unmatched. People he helped years ago still will ask for him by name. We celebrate Miguel Chavez for 25 years of outstanding service and thank him for his significant contribution to the health and well-being of Madera County.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who has supported public health.
And finally, we have one more in public health. Melody Keller has served for 30 years with Madera County Department of Public Health. She was drawn to public health after a rotation at Madera County Public Health during her nursing school at Fresno State. In her 30-year journey from public health nurse to deputy director of clinical nursing services, Melody worked with 4 different department directors and has worked in nearly every program of the department, including HIV, the clinic, immunizations, TB, STD, preventive healthcare for the aging, maternal child adolescent health, California Children's Services, and emergency preparedness. Melody says she had her eye on becoming the nursing director very early on. Public health at the time was smaller and slower, and she thought there's got to be something bigger and better than this. She has been a critical part of transforming Madera County Department of Public Health into a modern local health department. Melody pushed into the future from the beginning. She planned and ran the first mass vaccination clinic in Madera County in the 1990s. It was held at La Esperanza Market and was so well attended that the lesson learned was to include the sheriff to manage traffic. Melody also managed the operations for the public health response to H1N1 in 2009, deploying 42 clinics in 1 month. She stepped it up even further during COVID, which was in another league, with clinics all day, every day for nearly 2 years. I asked Mel what has kept her in Madera for 30 years. It was that vision of something bigger and better. Melody is recognized as a leader of public health nursing throughout the state and will be the president of the California Public Health Nurses Association for fiscal year 25-26. I'm hopeful that that will keep her with us for another couple of years. She also added that Madera County has been like a family, one that has walked with her through life and its transitions, birth, deaths, the ups and downs of living. They were all experienced with the support of her public health colleagues and friends. It's my honor to be here today with Melody as we celebrate 30 years of dedication to the health of the residents of Madera County.
Thank you. You know, when people ask me why I've been in the same place of employment for over 30 years, there are 3 reasons. One is I truly enjoy the people that I currently work with and the people that I've worked with in the past. 2, I know that what I do as a public health nurse matters. Whether it's writing a report, whether it's providing immunizations, or even doing staff performance evaluations. My goal as a public health nurse has always been to make a positive impact in our community. And three, I have a go-to phrase that I use to define my longevity. And that phrase is, you bloom where you're planted. As an RN, I pretty much can get a job wherever I'd like. But for me, for 30 years, I've chosen to work as a public health nurse here in Madera County. I planted my roots here. I watered and developed my nursing skills here, and I continue to bloom. Thank you, Madera County. The journey continues.
Okay, next up, we are going to be recognizing individuals from the Sheriff's Office. First up, being recognized for 25 years of service, Stephen Alva, Correctional Corporal Post. And being recognized for 35 years of service, Darren McMecken, Undersheriff.
Law enforcement's a demanding and relentless profession. And so I think it's truly something to be celebrated when we have those that manage to make it decades of service to their community. Today, we honor two exceptional individuals for their years of service. Corporal Stephen Alva. Start over. Corporal Stephen Alva. Though unable to join us here today, he began his career with Madera County as a correctional officer in 1998. He promoted to correctional corporal in 2019 and served with the transportation unit as a correctional training officer, making a lasting impact through his leadership and dedication. Though he's not here, we still celebrate him. We also celebrate Under Sheriff Darren McMecken, a man who needs no introduction with 37 years of dedicated service to the Sheriff's Office. We honor him today for his 35-year award. His unwavering dedication and leadership has left an indelible mark on our office and the county. So thank you. And Under Sheriff McMecken.
Might as well call this McMecken month.
And finally, we will be recognizing individuals from Social Services, Department of Social Services. Both of these individuals have reached 25 years of service with the County of Madera. Simone Walton, Social Worker Supervisor 1, and Veronica, please forgive me, Plates, Social Worker Supervisor 2.
Good morning, Chairman and Board. This is Deborah Martinez, Director of Social Services. I'm actually going to have my deputies present on the two individuals, and then I'll be returning to the podium for another moment. Okay, excuse me. First off, Steve Duckworth.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, county staff, Steve Duckworth, Deputy Director, Social Services. I'm here to say a few words about Simone Walton for her 25 years of service, all of which have been with the Department of Social Services. She began her career in 1999 as a social worker 2. She worked in the employment services arena. She was recognized by her first supervisor right off the bat as having a strong work ethic, having good consistency in her attendance, being able to engage with the public in a level that they understood, not talking over them. And she became a valuable member of the team. She promoted to social worker 2 after serving a stint in both the adult services arena and in child welfare. She promoted as a social worker 3, in the year 2014. She was transferred to the in-home supportive services quality assurance team. She led those efforts with the state to ensure the program integrity of the IHSS program. She was instrumental in establishing our county as one that met the metrics of this state was looking for during their audits. Every winter they come out and the state sends a team down to audit our IHSS operations. So she was fundamental and instrumental in ensuring that our audits were in compliance. We were found to be in compliance. And then she became a supervisor in 2019 on the IHSS team, and she is a big part of the reason why our county is one of the few in the state of California that's not under that meets the federal threshold for IHSS program. And we're staying off the state's radar because many other counties are on a program improvement plan because they don't meet the thresholds. But she, as a supervisor in our IHSS intake unit, is doing a good job to ensure that we meet the metrics. Personally, I've known Simone, worked with her for 25 years. I remember the day she started. We worked together closely. Our paths crossed many times during our careers. And she has a very dry sense of humor, and not everybody understands and appreciates. But during intense meetings or during a critical time, she'll say something that's either sarcastic or sardonic, or and it just lightens the mood, and I just laugh, and she amuses the heck out of me. I've enjoyed working with her and her team too. She, as a social worker supervisor, she's a coach, she's a mentor, she guides the team, and so her team is well managed under her tutelage. And so I know she's not here today, but hopefully she'll see this. And so Simone, if you're watching, it's been a pleasure working with you all these years.
Good morning, Chairman and Supervisors. I'm here to speak about Veronica Plates. She's not here. She's on a well-deserved vacation out of the country right now, but hopefully she'll be able to watch this. It's an honor to recognize Veronica Plates for 25 years of dedicated service to Madera County Social Services. Veronica joined us in 1999 after earning her Master's of Social Work degree from Cal State University Fullerton. She has served our community through different areas of child welfare as a social worker supervisor, a court officer, a certified child forensic interviewer, and as our special immigrant juvenile status liaison. Through all of her roles, Veronica has helped countless youth navigate complex legal systems. Her commitment extends beyond the workplace as a member of the Truancy Board, partnering with schools and probation, and through mentoring future social workers as a CSUF Master of Social Work field instructor. Through all of this, she has raised a wonderful family and remains an active member of her community and church. Veronica, your dedication, compassion, and leadership has undoubtedly positively impacted your family, your coworkers, and the families you have served over the past 25 years in social services. Congratulations for reaching such a remarkable milestone, and thank you for your service.
So Simone and Veronica are essential members of our team that I hope will be here for another 25 years. I did want to take this moment, even though Steve Duckworth didn't want us to actually come in with an item specifically related to his retirement. I wanted to take this opportunity to actually provide some words in terms of his tremendous work with our department. So is with great respect and appreciation that we honor Steve Duckworth as he retires after 31 years of dedicated service. He started with us in 1993 as an eligibility worker and then successfully was promoted to an employment training worker, an analyst, a program manager, and then I made the smart decision of promoting him to a deputy director in 2020. So he's done a tremendous amount of work for us. He leads a disaster, our preparedness team. He also has leading in our current endeavor to create a local aging and disability access program or plan for us. He's done a tremendous job on that. I've given him complete autonomy in creating that with our partners and our community, which I really appreciate. Steve's contributions over the years have been invaluable as our Deputy Director of Adult Services that includes APS, IHSS, age-blind, disabled, Medi-Cal. He is somebody that his expertise, his leadership, his steady representation, his 31 years has been a true legacy that we are going to miss. On behalf of the entire department, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Steve for his dedication and his years of exceptional service. I wish him the very best in his retirement and his adventures to come. So thank you, Steve. Now, I am going to give him a moment to say goodbye, but I also want to take this opportunity to let you know that we have promoted his program manager, Mi Wang, to the position of deputy director. And there's Mi Wang. I also wanted to let you know that we are celebrating his retirement from 2:30 to 3:30 in the Emerald Room at our conference room, and that you folks are more than invited to attend if you'd like, for today at 2:30 to 3:30. I also thought I'd take the opportunity to circulate 1966, the formation of DSS, a picture. And next year, when we're 60 years, maybe Steve will come back and we can take a group picture like they did in 1966 when DSS was actually established. And when they had 68 staff, well, now we have over 400. Now, Steve, you will take a moment.
Well, thank you, Deborah, for those words. You know, I feel like the luckiest person alive. I feel so blessed and lucky to have worked in the county of Madera. I feel supported every time I come down here and talk to you all, the county staff. I work with so many different county staff. And my team, a lot of my direct charges are here that I work with currently, but over 31 years, so many names and places flood my mind as I look back and I think, man, you know, I could talk all day, day and night about each one of these people and what they mean to me, what they do for the people of Madera County, how they represent. But, you know, and I'm so lucky just to live in Madera County, live in this country, enjoy the freedoms that we have. I always think back of my childhood and how my parents raised me. I'm especially appreciative of my father, who was a steel worker, who never complained. He worked shifts in back east. You know, he was caught up in worldwide economic times where we were in deindustrializing our country. He was under pressure, you know, and both my parents worked in that type of work, one making sewing machines and one other piping steel at the steel plant. And so, but they never complained. My father especially, he would work one shift, he'd work midnights, the next week he'd be on mornings, the next week he'd be on afternoons. And in the cold, in the heat, in all the weather that you get back east with the snow and the extreme weather you get back there. I'll never forget as a little kid, they took us on a tour one time, take your kids to work. And they give us a white hard hat, took us into the steel plant for a second. I was like 9 or 10 years old, me and my brother. And I just remember the big blast furnace and the guy telling us this furnace never dies. This furnace is always on. And you could see these guys down on the floor, shop floor, brooms and piping and clanging metals. And of course, they would probably never take any more kids to work over there anymore. But that's what they did back in the day. And it was a real learning experience for me. I could tell you that. And my dad modeled it every day. He came, like I said, he came home after working and he started working again. And he would always drag us along with him. So it's very appreciative of, you know, and like I said, I want to thank my team here. And I'm so glad that Mi Wang is going to be your new deputy director. And I look forward to what she's going to do for adult services in Madera County. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Steve.
All right. So the Department of Human Resources is proud to have played a role in honoring and recognizing all of the individuals for their years of service. If you all are still in the room and you can make your way up to the front for a group picture, and then afterwards we are going to be celebrating your hard work and commitment in the room right outside the board chambers, coffee and pastry. So come on up for a group
Okay.
picture.
I just like to make an announcement that we will continue the board meeting while you're enjoying the pastries and so forth back there, just because we have a Supervisor McCauley and I have a afternoon-long meeting starting at 1 o'clock, and we still have about 5 items to go. So it's not that we don't want to be with you, we just under a time crunch. So let's go ahead and take our picture.
That's Steve. Oh, we're back there.
Whatever I want, then I want Steve.
Thank you and congratulations. Let's go ahead and move on to 6E.
County Council Department discussion and consideration to approve setting the annual aggregate cost limit for purchasing agent agreements to $88,152 effective January 1st, 2025, and to automatically adjust thereafter as provided in section 2.18.060F of the Madera County Code.
Thank you, Chair and members of the board. Regina Garza, County Council. I'd like to clarify first that the recommended action should be plural and not singular, meaning it's not to set the annual aggregate cost limit for a singular purchasing agent agreement, but as many might come to the need of the county in any one given year for the same service related to an independent contractor. So the purpose of this item is to seek clarification and ensure the internal operations of the county align with the Board of Supervisors' direction. If you'll just allow me a couple of minutes to give a little bit of history. Back in 2004, the state legislators revised the government code section, and I'm going to read it because our county code was amended in 2017 to essentially mirror it. And it reads, in counties having a population of less than 200,000, the Board of Supervisors may authorize a purchasing agent to engage independent contractors to perform services for the county or county officers with or without the furnishing of materials when the annual aggregate cost does not exceed $50,000, except that this amount shall be adjusted annually by any annual increase in the California Consumer Price Index as determined pursuant to Section 2212 of the Revenue and Taxation Code. That particular revenue and taxation code points out a particular CPI because there's not just one CPI. In 2017, we came to the board and asked the county Board of Supervisors at that time to amend the county code because it had these government code sections in it, but it referenced a $10,000 limit. And the county code was updated. We could have done a better job of saying, well, since the government code was established in 2004 and that CPI increase was included and is now part of our county code, it says 50,000. It stays that it says 50,000, but allows that annual increase so that staff doesn't have to come back unless directed to do so and ask for an amendment every year. And so back in 2017, it should have been about 65,445 if we would have clarified that. It wasn't done. So we've been doing 50,000 ever since. And to make sure that we're doing it at the amount allowed in the government code and the county code or some other limit that you may want. That's the purpose of this item. In looking at other counties, similarly situated counties, and I'll close with this, Alpine, Inyo, Amador, El Dorado, Napa, San Luis Obispo, Nevada, Glen, Tuolumne, all of them have adopted this county code. Having heard just yesterday, Tuolumne's ordinance allows for the annual CPI adjustment. That was really what I was seeking, just to make sure we weren't out here in left field. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And one other point, this streamlines the engaging of an independent contractor. There's two ways that happens in this county. Number one, it happens through what we call purchasing agent agreements, the point of this item. Those are signed by the purchasing agent, the auditor controller, county council, and the CAO. The other way that that happens is they come to your board for approval. Happy to answer any questions that you may have about this item.
All right, very good. Thank you for the presentation. Are there any questions regarding this item?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Council,
yes.
For members of the public, can you give a couple examples of some of the most common PAAs that are done?
I can. That was a softball too, and I'm standing here. I'm not going to strike out. Give me a second. You have one? I've got the purchasing agent here too.
Generally speaking, those are.
Okay, I'm gonna give my
I
common
promise I
example.
wasn't trying to
I
do
know that. I mean, I'm gonna give you one of my common examples is if there's, for example, construction happening and we need to engage somebody to create a fence around any sort of facility to keep the public out, we might engage an independent contractor to put up a temporary fence. That's one example. Do you have another example of the most common?
The most common are generally for some type of service. It's not something that's required to be provided by the county, but it's complementary to the county's mission. So we engage a third party. It's usually from a lower amount. It's not necessarily questionable, but we're not necessarily intending to engage them for usually a year maximum. So we do it through a purchasing agent agreement. That doesn't necessarily mean that you haven't done the other things like 3 bid comparisons and things like that, but it does mean that you could go forward with a PAA without the 3 bids, et cetera, at that particular purchase level.
Got one more from the auditor controller. Behavioral health clinicians, for example, sometimes are needed on a more immediate basis.
So it has more to do with time than anything because, you know, I think a lot of people would not necessarily be negative towards coming back to the board for approval for these types of things, but it's more about time, right?
Yeah, and that's a very good point, Chair and Supervisor Wamhoff. The purchasing agent doesn't have to, if there's a decision from the CAO or the purchasing agent to still go to the board with these types of agreements, even if they meet whatever threshold you might decide, they can still come to the board. There are some times when that does happen, but this does it's allowed by law and helps streamline for a matter of time and convenience in terms of how many agreements you might see on your agenda every meeting.
Okay, I am not necessarily against this, but I would like, you know, for any PAAs to be brought to the board, just so they are aware of these PAAs, what's going on.
So
Some sort of notification process of these PAAs for the board members.
That before or after the process gone through, because if we're gonna do it before, we'll be bringing everything to the board as a contract. If we do it after, we could do it like a invoice or a warrant list, like is done on certain other things.
Yeah, I think it's just like, you know, how the board gives reports or something like that. For me, I don't care if it's after, just so we're aware of these PAAs that are going out.
okay, so kind of like a monthly or a quarterly transaction of PAAs.
Exactly. Monthly, preferably.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Any other questions, thoughts? Are there any members of the public who have a comment on this item? Seeing and hearing none, well, I'll bring the item back for action.
And I will move to approve with the caveat that there's a monthly reporting of any PAAs that are done.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Wamhoff,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers, Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you. 6F.
6F, Human Resources Department, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution amending the salary and fringe benefits schedule and salary schedule.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any members of the public who have a comment or question regarding this item? Seeing and hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhoff,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers, Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
very
Thank
good.
you.
6G.
Human Resources Department, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution delegating authority to the Director of Human Resources to make applications and certify determinations of disability to the California Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any members of the public who have a comment regarding this item? Seeing and hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhoff,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
thank you. 6H.
Board. Hi, Chair. 6H, Information Technology, Clerk of the Board Department, presentation and discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with eScribe Software LTD in the amount of $37,400 for the annual service fee, subject to a 5% increase every year thereafter, and a one-time implementation cost of $2,000 for the legislative management solution for fiscal years 2024, 2027, and authorize the chairman to sign. I am Karen Scribner, Chief Clerk to the Board of Supervisors. In September of 2025, Granicus is going to sunset our current product, and they're going to sunset all of the support. So it's imperative that we have a successful transition. Sarah Anderson, I don't know if she's here. She's going to be the lead on this project. And right now we have Ethan, he's an account executive from eScribe. They'll be talking about the timelines, the phases, and the implementation of this. So I have a PowerPoint. Ethan, are you online?
Yes, good morning, Karen. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Ethan Dreger here from eScribe. Karen, thank you for bringing up the PowerPoint for me. A couple of quick slides for you. So in all honesty, I'm presenting on behalf of my colleague, James Coolin, who has been working with the clerk's office. He's actually en route to Napa for a city clerk's conference right now. So happy to step in for him. As Karen mentioned, with your software being sunset as of September of next year, wanted to provide a little context in who eScribe is, who we work with in the area, and how we'll ensure success of this project itself. Next slide, please. So a little bit about us. We work with many communities across the state of California and are growing significantly as well. Ourselves, as well as across North America, we have worked with many communities of all different sizes in exactly this scenario. The reason that cities and counties have been choosing eScribe is because of our focus on a great client experience the entire time that you're working with us. So that's helping your team get up and running quickly, providing them with great training and implementation, but great ongoing support as well too. Anyone who's worked with software knows that software is only as good as the help that you have. And that's why I'm proud to work with our company. The clerk's office, as well as staff that will eventually be rolling this out to, will have a dedicated account team. And a big focus for our company is ease of use in the software that meets the needs of the county, but innovating on our platform and continuing to add new functionality based on the needs of different municipalities. As I mentioned there, we've migrated clients over from many different platforms over the years and continue to do so. I pointed out, sorry, you could see a list of many folks from within your relative area. I added the city of Orlando as they are in a similar boat. Granicus is sunsetting another platform but actually just officially sunset it as of October this past year. They had to they were a little late getting to the ability to move forward and pick up the research phase of the project to select a new platform. Ultimately selected us in September and are doing an express implementation for a city of 400,000 residents. They signed a contract with us at the end of September and are going live next month, which is a wild project for our city hall in general. We know the challenges of change management, but they were up to the task, as was our team. I also point out the town of Southampton, New York is similar to Madera County. Southampton used the exact systems that you have utilized and ultimately have moved over to eScribe as of late this year and will be going live with their new platform in February as well. Next slide, please. So timeline here, the good news is that your account team has been assigned. We are taking a phased approach for this implementation as we found this to be most effective. Our team can be flexible in this process itself and can really work as quickly as your team needs to do so. But the best or the most positive thing here is that you have a reasonable timeline to ensure that you won't be in a spot of not being without any sort of system itself. So this month we'll have an official kickoff with implementation. Deputy Clerk Sarah has already been laying some of the groundwork and completing some documentation to allow the team to get started with the implementation of configuration and training and whatnot. And for March, over the next few months, they'll be going through that training. Our team will be building out and configuring the necessary functionalities of the platform, setting up agenda templates, minutes templates, etc., and webcasting to allow for that March go live. At that point, we will start initiate the migration of the public facing agendas and minutes documents. And then over those next few months, we'll start to roll that out to the departmental staff for them to create and submit their board letters and also complete that migration. At that point, you'll be able to officially dissolve your Granicus agreement. And then ongoing from there, I'll be rolling out some additional modules that you do not currently have today to provide some extra assistance when it comes to community engagement and some added functionalities on your front. And then on an ongoing basis, as I mentioned, it's all about great support. And so we ensure continued education, very quick response times for anyone that needs help with the platform. And when new employees come on board, then we'll ensure that we'll get them up and running as quickly as possible as well too, and frequently meet with the team to make sure that they're getting the most out of their investment. So that's everything I wanted to share here. I'll go back to you, Karen. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Very good. Thank you very much for the presentation, and glad to see we've got a timeline and plan, and everybody's on top of it. It's a one of these behind the scenes big deal items. And so again, thank you very much for arranging this presentation. Any other questions, thoughts?
Yeah, I still have just some concerns because I didn't see any counties listed on the list of clients.
We will be the first county,
What are all the other counties using for services?
Granicus. A majority of them are.
What are they switching to? Nobody talks about this in CSAC or anything.
They do. I do know that the county of Fresno was about to move over to eScribe as well. They're looking forward to seeing how our progress goes. Their IT department had them hold off another year, so we will see who they move to. But there are other products that Granicus does have that they are not sunsetting, but they're not
If I
compatible
can
with what
add
we
some,
need.
I apologize. There's some additional context there as well. And as I mentioned, my colleague James Coolin works with our California clients themselves. So you would likely be able to provide some additional insight there. What I can say is I work with our clients on the East Coast, and we do work with many counties of all different sizes as well too. We do find that the process is very, very similar city to county itself. There's always some nuance, but about 85% of that is directly aligned, and then we can still achieve that nuance that's required. As an example, we're partners with the New York State Association of Counties, and seeing a number of counties move over to us in that state from Granicus, and have many county clients across North America as well.
Yeah, this is no, nothing negative on eScribe. I just don't like being the county guinea pig in California. We don't have all the, we're not the size and scale of other counties where we can necessarily afford to be the guinea pig in a lot of areas. Or if we are the guinea pig, we're at a reduced cost to do that. So those are my concerns. And I know you said that there isn't a lot of changes from county to city, but just as our chairman always likes to say, why reinvent the wheel? What's everybody else doing that's working?
Yeah, it's definitely a struggle. There's not a lot of options.
Well, what is everybody else doing? And why are we jumping first?
Well, I don't know that we're jumping first. I do know that Orange County is moved away from PrimeGov as well. I think they renewed for one more year. They're going to give it one more year before they have a lawsuit against PrimeGov. But I do know the city of San Francisco is spending millions to create their own. There's a lot of counties that are creating their own, but we don't have that kind of funding. There are two other companies that we did vet, and they don't have the modules that we need. This is the best fit for our county.
I know, but I still find it hard to believe. What are all the other counties doing? It's, that's my concern. What is everybody else doing, and why are we first?
Okay,
I
Sarah
have a lot of
Henderson is
concern
coming
about
up.
that. Yeah.
She's the lead on this project. Just a moment.
Hi, Sarah Anderson, your assistant clerk to the board. So the other county, a lot of counties are with Granicus with various softwares, all managed by Granicus. Granicus buys out everyone. So, but no one is happy with them. Like Madera County has tried to move away, they turned around and they purchased the software vendors that we moved from. So a lot of counties are with IQM2, which is what we're currently using. Other counties also went to PrimeGov, which we are also using. We're using both IQM2 and PrimeGov to publish your agendas. So we're using two vendors that were previously owned outside of Granicus. And that's kind of what happened to many of the other counties. So other counties, because like us, they keep trying to get away from them, are now either like San Francisco trying to develop their own, but they have the money to do so. We don't have the money or the staff to do such a thing. So we are trying to find another company, and this one was referred to us by Fresno County. They really liked it when they did research on the company. We also like them in comparison to some of the other counties or vendors that didn't have all of the software needs that we needed. This one pretty much does have it. As far as what they're using Novus, IQM2, Legistar or Legislate. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. PrimeGov, and they're all under Granicus.
So is Fresno County going to stay with PrimeGov?
They're waiting to see what happens with us.
Right, that's my concern.
I guess
so. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If I can ask a question, kind of feeding off supervisors' concerns. As we move along with our implementation timeline that you provided to us, is there any point where we can pull the plug and move back to what we're currently doing? I'm looking at, I hate to go there, but with our payroll system and what happened with that, I understand the concerns from my colleague. Right? And so again, is there an opportunity to move backwards once we've taken this step to move?
Well, and that was our concern. Dave Arney had asked if we could do that last time when we were with PrimeGov, and that was not a successful launch. So we did revert back, but now our hands are tied because it's sunsetting. Now we could continue to use the product after September 2025, but there's no support. Now we could also, as a secondary backup, move it all to Word. It's more time consuming. I don't know that we have the staff to do it, but there is a backup. And that's what we did before 2015.
Okay.
Right? What year was Word?
2004. So in 2004 is when we initiated Granicus for the first time. So we used Granicus and also Laserfish. So Laserfish created our agendas, and then they were published public facing through Granicus. And they quit supporting the agenda management software. So we had to move.
over to a new vendor, which is why we went to IQM2. We could have went with Granicus, but one of their other softwares, they had iLegistar, Questies, which has also been sunsetted, Novus Agenda, and I can't remember all of them. I wasn't prepared to stand in front of you today. I'm sorry.
Can I ask, when we're talking about losing our support on the software, what's our concern there? I'm assuming technical issues oftentimes pop up, which is why we're moving on from this software in the first place. So we would
So
lose
there's
an
security
opportunity to-
issues.
security.
We are putting the county at risk the longer we use IQM2. I don't know what all those security issues are, but that was the original reason why we started shopping to go outside of IQM2 at the recommendation of our security team.
Tanya Say, Chief Information Officer. Sarah is correct that it is security issues. If we continue to have that operating on our system and there's not the updates that are coming in, then that could put the entire county at risk. I do want to say that it's the IQM2 that's going to sunset and not have the support. PrimeGov will still have the ongoing support. I'm not exactly clear from a business perspective why the clerk of the board is using both systems at this point in time, but PrimeGov would still be supported by Granicus.
Okay, so what are the options at this point? Supervisor, you've got concerns. We've got a timeline. We've got kind of a time crunch. Where do we go from here? What would satisfy you, Supervisor?
For me, it's kind of understanding that I need to know if we're at a fork in the road. We have to make a decision right now. And it just so happens that we're the first one out of 58 counties that has to go first. Maybe that's the case. And if it is, I'm okay moving forward. But if it's not the case, why are we going to be first?
Well, I do know that I surveyed 2 counties that were the same size as Madera County. I'm sorry, city. So I contacted Bakersfield, and I also did an on-site visit with city of Paso Robles. And also in addition to that, I called 8 other cities that currently in California that utilize them. Everybody had wonderful rave reviews about eScribe. So that's why we decided to choose them.
Okay.
Because of their references.
Thank you.
Tanya, you have something to say.
Yes, I just wanted to say as an alternative, and this is really up to the clerk of the board to say whether or not from the business process side, but just for full transparency, I'm not clear exactly why PrimeGov is not an option to continue with. And so I just want to make sure that we just lay that out, that is PrimeGov an option?
If we held PrimeGov to the fire, yes. Karen referenced that another county was having trouble with PrimeGov, and it's because their support team claimed at the onset that they could provide a software that would work with what our county needs were, and it doesn't. So when we launched, one of the main reasons why we abandoned is we had an item that completely disappeared and had a staff member come in to locate that item to put it on the agenda. Joel, do you remember? We had a staff member here at midnight posting an agenda. But there's pieces they say they can fix and they haven't. They made us a promise that we would be able to launch in December 2022. I worked with them for a year after that, and they still could not get what we needed done. They'd ask things of me, I provided it to them, and then they don't do anything until our next call, literally moments before our phone call. And then they want feedback when they only gave it to me 10, 15 minutes before our phone call. And so then I'd have to test and I wouldn't be able to reach out to them until the next week. And then he would go on vacation, or they lose them. There's the rollout of their employees. Everyone we started off with was gone by the time we were finished. In fact, the project manager that they had, when they brought in a new one, had no idea where we were at. It was like starting over and over and over again each time.
Okay, so bad service, and there's nothing we can do about the bad
It's
service.
Granicus
Okay.
customer service.
And Granicus, they control everything except for
All of
few
the
their-
employees that were originally Prime Glove disappeared. Granicus took over, and we ended up with the same issues that we had when we had Granicus before, which
And
was,
there's a bunch of other options out there, but they're all Granicus.
there's not a whole lot of options out there, but what options we do have are primarily Granicus,
Okay,
yes.
well, that's what I meant. Yeah, so there's very few that are independent, and this is one of those that's independent.
Correct.
Okay, anybody, any comments, thoughts? I don't know. I'm not in that Granicus world, so I don't know, but I also understand with the current system, it was never set up the way it really should have been initially.
No,
And so you have inefficiencies there.
we have inefficiencies there. The
It's just-
workflow doesn't work as it should, as it's supposed to. They told us that they were able to make certain workflow connections, but then we find out that they can't. A department, if an item is submitted and a department has forwarded it in the workflow, you can't send it back.
Okay. So what do you want to do, people? I mean,
I would say, Chair, that, it sounds like we have an issue that needs to be addressed as far as our security goes. And it sounds like we have a plan to address that. And if there are issues with rolling this out, it does sound like we have, I think, two options if this doesn't work. So I think I would say we move forward with this, give staff the opportunity to try to roll this out, work with the folks there on bringing this forward. And if it doesn't work, we've got a good timeline here. I think we're going to have an understanding of the flaws of the system, hopefully sometime in March, if that's the case, and we can start to pivot at that time. Does that sound?
That sounds reasonable.
Okay. It's just going to take all hands on board. I mean, it's going to take the entire clerk of the board office to get in there as a team, everybody, whatever hours are necessary. Karen, you've got to really lead this effort. And because ultimately it comes back to you as far as the success or no success of this project. So,
I understand.
okay, very good. Any other comments? Okay, very good.
If that was a motion from Supervisor McCauley, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments from the public? Seeing and hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamha?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Chairman Poitras?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay,
Thank you,
very
Sarah.
good.
Thank you, Tanya.
6I.
Treasurer Tax Collector Department. Treasury Tenant Improvement Project, discussion and consideration of entering into an amendment to Madera County Contract Number 12420-23 with Paul Pelagian Architects for an additional sum not to exceed $10,960 and amending the term and scope of services for the Treasurer Tax Collectors Department remodel project and authorize the chairman to sign. Discussion and consideration of approval of the receipt of unanticipated revenue number 24-062 in the amount of $253,390 derived from Treasurer Tax Collector Modernization Fund trust revenue to Treasurer Tax Collector Modernization Fund operating transfers out capital projects for fiscal year 2024, 2025. 4 votes are required. Discussion and consideration of approval of transfer of appropriations number 24-063 in the amount of $100,000 transferred from Treasure Land to Treasure operating transfers out capital projects for fiscal year 2024, 2025. Discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated revenue number 24-063 in the amount of $363,390 derived from Treasurer Tax Collector TI operating transfers into building and improvements for fiscal year 2024, 2025. 4 votes are required.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Joel Begay from the County Administrative Office. With me today is Tracy Kenny and Jackie Torres from the Treasurer Tax Collector, and Ricky Arredondo and Jorge Mendoza, project managers for the county. Brief history in this project. In February 2023, the board awarded the contract to Paul Halajan Architects to begin the design process for the Treasurer Tax Collector and Treasurer Work Area Lobby redesign. Between February 23 and January 2024, the design process went forward with the project team and the department, which culminated in a bid of the project in February, between February and April, and ultimately culminating in award of the contract to Burke Construction in May 2024. Construction officially began July 15, 2024. On July 29, 2024, department staff went to the construction team and had identified some requested modifications that came to light after rough framing began to be constructed into the into the project. So construction team and admin got together with the department, and it was determined at that time to the path forward is to estimate the requested design modifications, right? We were put in a tough spot though, because we already broke ground, and the instruction to the construction team is try to avoid any delay claims, because delay claims doesn't get us anything. And at this point, the contractor is it's perfectly fair for the contractor to file a delay claim. They've already demoed, they already started rough construction and all of that. Between July and August, the admin did authorize Paul Halajan Architects to try and cost out the requested modifications to the Treasurer Tax Collector lobby. And on October 3, the team received the first round of those cost estimates. Those were promptly kicked back for reasonableness. Some modifications were requested, and we received the second round of the cost estimates on November 6, which is reflected in today's presentation. Just to kind of summarize the modifications requested on the tax collector lobby, the original scope of the counter wall, you can see, and it's not showing in your PowerPoint. We just put this in so that we can illustrate. The green line is the original location of the counter wall. That was moved roughly 5 feet forward to decrease the lobby and create 4 additional workstations for current staff and future growth staff for the tax collector area. This modification also included the necessary casework to accommodate that modification, as well as any electrical, water, or utility changes that impacts by moving the wall. On the treasurer lobby area, the original scope of this project was the conversion of the storage room into a staff break room area. That was part of the original bid. The modification here, as you can see in red, where originally there was a long wall with 3 workstations and 1 counter and 1 serviceable counter window, that was turned into a half wall with 1 counter window, but then creating space for 2 to 3 staff that's outside of the public view on the other side, thereby creating more both for current and future growth of staff at the treasurer area. This table, I'm going to kind of breeze quick because I know we're pressed for time. The original scope contract that was awarded was a $511,000. The proposed tax collector area modifications total to $151,000. Currently, I know our project management team is still going back and forth. This will still go down. These are the worst case scenario numbers at this point. The treasurer additional scope is $201,620, and this is more expensive than the tax collector modification because it's completely modifying an area that wasn't part of the original scope. In the tax collector, we moved the wall, adjusted the casework, and whatever structural impacts. But in the treasurer area, there's a new space that's been proposed to modify the lobby. So with that said, the worst case scenario estimated cost is currently at $864,788.91. funds already allocated for the project is 511,398, leaving the additional funds at the worst case scenario estimated at 353,390 and 91 cents. I will say though that since we've come up with this estimate, the realistic cost now is at 294, and that would still likely go down and reach closer to best case scenario of 244. It's just a timing issue. We're pushing back with the contractor. Our construction team is pushing back on their cost estimates, right? And trying to get that to a reasonable number. But we just want to highlight that, once you start to award the contract and you're doing this in a modification, it's really hard, but I think we're coming towards a cost that likely would mirror what the cost would have been in an original bid if we bid out the full scope, including the modifications. Before I turn it over to Tracy and Jackie, I do want to say that on behalf of admin, this is not the ideal way we want to handle a project. This is a pretty unique situation where significant modifications were requested after we already broke ground and awarded contract. So our direction to the construction team was really three things. One, we want to accommodate the customer, right? So work with the department to cost out and map out the modifications, but also prevent any delay claims or surcharges because we already have a contractor on board and the clock is ticking, right? And then third, bring a budget adjustment and the scope modifications to the board in a timely manner. We succeeded in the first two. We failed in the three, and I apologize to the board that this did not come in timely or more timely. There's a multitude of reasons I can cite. They're all just going to be excuses, so I won't belabor that point other than we are putting processes in place so that way these things don't come in late, that these go in hand before any work actually moves forward on the modifications. I'm going to turn it over to the treasurer staff so they can go over the why of why these modifications were requested in the first place.
Hi, me again, Tracy Kennedy, your treasurer tax collector. What Jackie's handing out to you is a little map, a little colored map. And we're the purple, we're the lavender in the corner there. And just so that you know, in February, I'll have lived here 18 years. And during that time, we identified some improvements that need to be made. And because of expansion, staff growth, job growth, and all of that, it's no different than, probably what's going to happen, for the expansion for the recorder's office. And when they moved out, I know public health is expanding. Also, one thing for sure is that when they took down the walls, we could see the lobby was just a gigantic wasted space. We have a huge lobby in our office, and the whole thing was oriented wrong. Okay, so if you've come into my office, you walk in forward, and there was a big office, went all the way to the window, and my staff were all situated to the right. In fact, I even had to get a Home Depot beeper so that when they came in through the door, when the taxpayers came in through the door, it would beep so that my people could make sure that they got up to wait on any taxpayers. So it's been oriented wrong. We have a pillar right in the middle of our working area. We had to reconfigure all of our workstations around this pillar that stood right in the middle of our floor. Anyway, not my fault. I'm not an architect. But when they came in and they started taking down the wall, I said, well, can we move this taxpayer counter out a few more feet? Turned out to be 5, because if we need to have so many people we can prop open the door and they can stand in the hallway. We got gigantic hallways here to boot, right? So anyway, this is all about customer service. This is about growth. I'm not going to get any more square footage than what I have today. Like land, they're not making any more of it. As you can see, the assessor's office is a lot bigger. Auditor's office is a lot bigger. Like Supervisor Poitras said yesterday up at the Oakhurst grand opening for the satellite, it's not always about the cost, but about increasing our ability to serve our constituents. It's always about services, and don't forget, We had about 194 of them come in yesterday. So anyway, I didn't know if Jackie wants to tell you anything else about, she's been my boots on the ground. Just, I mean, I don't know if you do know or not, but we meet every week. They meet every week with the contractor, admin staff, Ricky, Jorge, whoever from admin, and they go over all of everything that they need. Unfortunately, the transfer appropriations wasn't done timely. I didn't know it wasn't done, frankly. And so had I known, I mean, I could have done it myself 2 months ago, right? But anyway, if Jackie wants to kind of tell you about their meetings and our growth.
Hey everyone, Jacqueline Torres, your assistant treasurer tax collector. So one of the big things as once the walls started coming down is we noticed the unused space, just like Tracy was saying, but also just in my time with the county in the last 6 years, our department has grown 6 FTE, but also we're like 6 divisions in one. And the growth of just the short-term rentals and TOT is a division of its own where we just don't have the space and the staff to be able to man over 1,100 registered operators. We also issue more than 4,000 business license renewals annually in our office, and the need for much more back office space is apparent and just growing. So all we're trying to do is maximize the dead space, I guess you can say, in our office to be more efficient and more productive and get kind of our workflows managed a little bit better and a little bit more effectively and efficiently. And since my time in the office too, we've grown and we're issuing over 7,100 tax bills. Yeah, 71,000, sorry. And that number is just going to keep growing. This does not account for all the school districts. I think there's about 9 school districts within Madera County. And this doesn't account for the growth in the schools. This doesn't account for the new subdivisions that are growing that all impacts our county and our treasury as we have to monitor those debt service payments and help make sure that those schools get funded on a monthly and daily basis. That's all I have. If there's any questions, happy to answer.
Very good. Cool.
Mr. Chairman, we just want to add, they didn't cover the funding that the treasurer tax collector is using for this is unrestricted fee revenue. We just wanted to add that, not the general fund.
Okay, very good. Is that in the completion of the
That
presentation?
concludes the presentation. We're
Okay.
available for questions.
Very good. Questions that colleagues may
I have a
have?
question. Where does the unrestricted fee revenue go if you don't do it to build out the
The unrestricted, well, the restricted fee revenue is strictly off of fees that we collect for different processes that we have for the various divisions in our department. And that is specific to the use of the treasurer tax collector. There's 2 R&T codes that actually support that.
I'm just saying, where does it go if it doesn't get used?
Oh, it's sitting in our, I guess you can call it like our savings account. So sitting in the modernization fund,
Where does
modernization
it
trust
eventually get used?
right here. So it gets used to enhance services. So just a few years ago, we set up online e-alert services. These monies get used to help support that. Just recently, over the last 3 years, we had to upgrade our business license and collections program. This money gets to use that, so it's not impacting the general fund and the general tax dollars that we collect specifically for general fund. It's all to enhance the technology and modernizational needs of the department as things evolve for security reasons and to make sure we're able to manage the collections and enforcement actions of the department.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. So when you guys came before the board back in 2023, I think you remember not being as supportive. I guess, do we have a policy in place, Jay, or what, or how do these things change? And does that have to come before us when you're in a project and then it starts changing, or what is the practice that we do?
So let me make sure I understand your question. So if this answer doesn't answer it, please clarify for me. But so what should have happened here is the transfer of appropriation should have come before the board before any of the work that was not covered under the contingency under the contract that the board previously approved. So you approved a contract with contingencies. You have 2 entities in one area. Work was discussed, and due to the fact that you're doing a change order on the one wall, which affected the changes that they wanted to then do in the treasury. I think what really happened is there was some miscommunication. So the contractor believed they had the right to go ahead. The change order did get signed, but the transfer of appropriation should have been done simultaneously with when the change order was signed. Otherwise, there was no funding approved by the board to do that change order.
Yeah, I just want to ensure that this doesn't happen in the future where there's some changes and they're not approved and then we're.
Understood.
Supervisor, you have any other questions, comments? Anybody, any of my colleagues?
Bring enough food for the class?
I did not. Yes, exactly. Are there any members of the public that have a comment regarding this item?
None online.
Seeing and hearing none, I'll bring the item back for action.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers. Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Very good. Thank you. And we'll move on to a subsequent item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. While the board meeting was going on, I received some information that makes me believe that I need to bring a subsequent need item in front of the board. Let me give you a little background, please. Upon Connie Marino Peraza's departure on the 27th of September, prior to that, she had made notification to the state of her departure and the fact that Arthur Galindo would be acting in her place. The state is now going to come visit us on Friday for an audit. It is asking for some measure of official board action. At this point, there's no way we can get a resolution in front of you today. But what my subsequent need item and my request is that in order to avoid a negative finding from the state, that the board consider appointing by minute order Arthur Galindo to the position of acting Director of Behavioral Health Services with authority to sign on behalf of the county and the board effective 9/27 of 2024. And I can go into the rest of that if the board chooses to entertain this item.
Hey, very good.
So do you need a motion for the
For the subsequent need, yes,
so I
ma'am.
find the need to take action. I don't know the proper wording because arose after the posting of the agenda. There you go.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
So as you know, Connie departed. Art has been acting in that area. It's oversight by me, not getting the board to do a resolution, making that official. He has been carrying out all the roles, been doing an excellent job, and he has not signed everything related to behavioral health services, only those that we felt comfortable him signing at his level. The other things I've actually signed on behalf of the county. So the full ask of what we're asking is appoint by minute order Arthur Galindo to the position of acting director of behavioral health services as of September 27th, 2024, and with authority to sign on behalf of the county and the board of supervisors, and that the board ask the county staff return with a formal resolution on December 17th and forward a letter to the state acknowledging this acting appointment, because apparently the other notifications weren't sufficient. Mr. Galindo would carry out the administrative functions required to carry on the business of the department until the appointment of a permanent BHS director, which we project to be in January 2025. The resolution is going to request you to set the salary, and our recommendation is that we set his salary at 10% supplemental pay to his existing pay rate.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any comments from members of the public? Seeing and hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers. Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. And we'll bring the resolution back next Tuesday.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I don't see any pending legislation. Let's move on to supervisor and staff reports. I'll start to my right, Supervisor Wamhoff.
Nothing to report.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Supervisor McCauley.
I just want to thank the board for their support with the Oakland Satellite Office as well as staff. And Melissa's not here because she's out getting Supervisor Poitras and I lunch for our 1 o'clock. So I also want to thank her for all of her work in setting that up. Also for being just wonderful.
This last week.
Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Varney,
Nothing additional to report. Thank you.
hey, council.
No report, Chair. Thank you.
Nothing
to report. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And with that, we shall adjourn. Just in time.